Palantir has received a lot of unbelievable breaking news today, guys. We have the NATO acquisition. We have an article from the CTO of Palantir effectively outlining how the government contracting business for Palantir is probably about to explode. We have some more contracts. We have a chart that's looking really good. Guys, let's get right into it here. But before we get into all of that information, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading these videos out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you guys are subscribed and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos go live. But getting right into it over here, the president orders a defense reformation, and this is written by the CTO of Palantir. On Wednesday, while everyone was watching the stock market, President Trump issued an executive order that announced the beginning of a different seismic revolution. The order, titled Modernizing Defense Acquisitions and Spurring Innovation in the Defense Industrial Base, ushers in a new era of defense acquisition that aims to correct years of cultural drift and lethargy. This president and his administration have made it clear they are not doing business as usual. They understand the urgency of the moment, the stakes of defeat, and the need for speed. Ready or not, desperately needed technology and change are coming to the Pentagon. I'll have more to say as the process unfolds. For now, a few notes on what this bombshell means and how to ensure it fulfills the president's goals. Now, moving on a little bit further here, the executive order orders a root and branch reform of our antiquated defense acquisition systems. Within 60 days, it orders Secretary of Defense Hegseth to submit a plan for defense procurement that maximizes speed and minimizes red tape. Crucially, it stipulates that the Department of Defense should use existing authorities to the maximum extent, with a first preference for commercial solutions and a general preference for innovative acquisition authorities like OTAs and policies under the Rapid Capabilities offices here. Now, so what they're effectively trying to do in this kind of area here, guys, is say, okay, we know that there is a lot of speed and efficiency in the commercial space, and they want to bring that into the kind of the classic slow-moving nature of the way a government is going to operate. This is going to bring more efficiency and also more effectiveness throughout the entire organization here. Now, again, it acknowledges that the DoD is already required to buy commercial, but moving down a little bit further, this is when we start to get into some of the more kind of nitty-gritty of this, and this is where it can be very, very beneficial for Palantir. What applies to personnel should also apply to programs. The executive order orders a 90-day review of all major defense acquisitions programs and MDAPs that are 15% behind schedule, 15% over budget, and unable to meet key performance parameters or unaligned with OSD's priorities will be on the chopping block. My only question here is why this wasn't DoD's policy sooner. If you want competition and high performance, the ability to fail is key. No one is served, least of all our troops, by an army of zombie programs shambling to completion years behind schedule. The money and manpower supporting these programs should be shifted to more promising alternatives. It will be key for the Department of Defense to review programs based on their original contract metrics and not by re-baseline modifications that have occurred along the way as cost and schedule goals have been modified due to deviations for struggling programs. Finally, requirements. The executive order calls for a comprehensive review of JCIDs within 180 days with the goal of streamlining and accelerating acquisition. We're already on record about what the end result of this review should be. Blow up JCIDs. DoD's jointness industrial complex is a bureaucratic hall of mirrors that tacks years onto the already endless procurement process. So now this might sound like a lot of words here, but what they're effectively trying to do, and it is mentioned in this article briefly, is they are trying to apply the principles of DOGE to the Department of Defense. They're trying to cut the excess fat and do more of what is already working, what is the most efficient, in what is the most effective. And Palantir, again, guys, is going to fit that role perfectly. Now, when we think about the government contracting business for Palantir, again, in 2024, they generated about $1.57 billion in revenue from U.S. government contracts, and their total revenue, as you can see right here, was about $2.866 billion. Now, for those of you guys that have been following this stock really ever since its IPO a few years ago here, you would know that one of the main issues that kind of the market in general had with Palantir was really two main things. aggressively high levels of stock-based compensation, and the second was a overwhelmingly high amount of concentration in government contracts. Now, in this type of macro environment that we are in, with a recessionary risk or a growth slowdown risk here, especially due to these new trade and tariff policies here, and just kind of the overall situation that we are in, what is a possibility now is that the percentage of Palantir's revenue that is coming from the government is going to go up, but I don't really think that that is going to be a significant problem for two reasons. One, if the market is already going to understand kind of the overall environment that we are in and seeing the government become more efficient, more effective, and Palantir being a main beneficiary of that, I think these days that would actually be viewed as a significant positive for Palantir. Now, the second would actually be a little bit kind of more of an extrapolation here, but remember, all of these AIP boot camps, all of these companies now coming in and seeing what Palantir can actually do for their business in terms of, again, efficiency and effectiveness. You are still going to need to see companies operate at a very, very high level, even in this uncertain environment. And if a lot of these new policies are going to cause maybe unemployment to go up, layoffs to go up as well, again, you might see a lot of these companies utilize a technology company like Palantir to kind of replace some of those jobs that people were doing at these companies. Now, you might think that that's not a good thing for society, but it could end up being a benefit for Palantir. But again, that is going to be a lot smaller of an element of this kind of overall situation here, and something that could end up playing out as a result of kind of the broad environment that we are in. Now, obviously, we have to talk about this new NATO acquisition of Palantir's Maven smart system here, because this is a very big deal. Palantir stock rose just under 5% on Monday. Again, we're going to take a look at the chart in a second. After NATO announced it had finalized the acquisition of an AI military system from the Denver-based defense tech firm. Details of the deal were not disclosed, but NATO said it would begin using Palantir's technology, the Maven smart system NATO, in the next 30 days. MSS uses AI to compile and analyze data for battle space awareness and planning, including the identification of military targets. So now, just thinking about how good this is for Palantir, the company, it is a very good thing that NATO is going to have access to this type of technology, effectively being able to analyze and identify military targets with a lot more precision, speed, and efficiency. Again, as Alex Karp has said many, many times in the past, they are looking to kind of keep the West on top and make sure that our military capabilities are going to be far greater than any other of these countries or groups around the world. Now, again, could this be something that we could be preparing for some sort of World War III? I would really hope not, but again, for Palantir, the company, this is a very, very positive development moving forward. Now, again, just one last thing here. We did get this government contract update here from, I believe, the Department of Homeland Security for about $30 million. So that's always nice to add to Palantir's revenues. And I do want to briefly talk about the chart of Palantir here too, because again, we did talk about this in one of yesterday's videos, that Palantir was setting up for a significant move to the upside. We saw a really solid gap up here of about, what was this? About 9% here, I think it was. Yeah, 8-9%. Again, with the overall volatility that we saw in the market today, more tariff news. Again, Palantir wasn't able to follow through above this 98.16 area here. And again, a lot of the price action, especially in Palantir in the short term, is obviously going to be dictated by the broad market. And again, with all of this uncertainty that we're witnessing in this market, in this administration, really kind of being purposeful with their uncertainty, playing both sides of the fence here, saying, okay, well, in one sense, we could put these tariffs on a lot of these other countries and generate revenues, or we are effectively threatening tariffs and then trying to accomplish some of our political goals with not really being very communicative to kind of the broad public and the investment community of what the actual goals of this administration actually are. That is going to lead to continued uncertainty. So again, that is here to stay. We are going to continuously see a lot more volatility, especially as these tweets are dropping left and right. But again, I would not say that this is a bearish chart right now. We did kind of come and hang around the zone a few times. We tested kind of this 200 exponential moving average on the daily. If you can get back above that 98 area, especially if market conditions are looking good, I don't really see any any issue here with getting back up to that 109 and potentially going for those all-time highs, especially if this market does have one of these aggressive reflex rallies. So guys, that is going to wrap up this video here. If you guys did enjoy the information and analysis that I provided for you guys in this one, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you guys are subscribed, turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos go live. So until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.